Picture this. You're on a plane cruising at 35,000 feet. The window shades are up, revealing a breathtaking tapestry of clouds. The flight attendant arrives with your meal. You eagerly unwrap your plastic tray, only to find the flavors muted. Disappointing, right? We've all been there. But have you ever wondered why this happens? Why does airplane food get such a bad rap? Let's dive into the science behind this high-altitude culinary mystery. And to understand why airplane food often tastes bland or unexciting, we first need to explore how our sense of taste actually works. It's not just about what's on your tongue. There's a fascinating partnership at play every time you take a bite. Our tongues are covered in thousands of taste buds, which are tiny sensory receptors. These taste buds are responsible for detecting the 5 basic flavors: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami, which is that savory, meaty taste found in foods like tomatoes and cheese. Each taste bud contains cells that respond to different chemicals in our food, sending signals to our brain about what we're eating. But here's the thing, taste buds don't work alone. They have a crucial partner in crime, our sense of smell. In fact, much of what we think of as taste is actually aroma. When you eat, you're not just tasting with your tongue, but also smelling with your nose. As you chew, aromas are released from the food and travel up the back of your throat to your nose. This process is called retronasal olfaction, and it's a key part of how we experience flavor. The steam or aroma rising from a hot meal carries hundreds of different scent molecules. These aromas activate special olfactory receptors in your nose, which then send detailed signals to your brain. Your brain interprets these signals and combines them with the information from your taste buds, creating the full, rich experience of flavor. When everything is working together, taste and smell, you get to enjoy the complete flavor profile of your food. That's why, when you're healthy and your senses are sharp, a meal can be a truly delightful experience, even in the air. But if your nose is blocked, like when you have a cold or allergies, or even due to the dry, pressurized air in an airplane cabin, you lose much of your ability to detect aromas. This is why food can suddenly seem flavorless or dull. You're missing half the experience. So next time you find your in-flight meal a bit bland, remember, it really does take 2 to taste. Now let's take our taste buds for a flight. Have you ever wondered why airplane food just doesn't taste the same as it does on the ground? It's not just the food itself. Your body actually changes when you're thousands of feet in the air. When a plane ascends, the air pressure in the cabin drops. Even though cabins are pressurized, the pressure is still much lower than what we experience at sea level. Ever felt your ears pop during takeoff? That's the pressure change at work, equalizing the air inside and outside your ears. It's a small reminder that your body is adjusting to a new environment. This lower air pressure affects our bodies in several ways, and you guessed it, it messes with our taste buds. Suddenly, that meal you were looking forward to might seem bland or unappetizing. First, the lower pressure reduces the sensitivity of our taste receptors, especially those responsible for sweet and salty flavors. Foods that are usually flavorful can taste muted or dull, making it harder to enjoy your favorite snacks. Second, the air inside an airplane cabin is incredibly dry. Humidity levels can drop to less than 20%, which is even drier than most deserts. This dryness further reduces our ability to smell, as our olfactory receptors don't work as well when they're parched. Since smell is a huge part of how we experience flavor, this makes food taste even less appealing. It's like trying to smell a flower in the desert. So next time you're on a plane, remember, it's not just the food, it's your body too, that's along for the ride. But wait, there's more. Remember that partner in crime, our sense of smell? It's further hampered by another factor engine noise. The constant hum of the engines actually interferes with our ability to perceive aromas. Our brains, bombarded by this auditory input, struggle to process the subtle signals from our olfactory receptors. So, there you have it. Lower air pressure, dry air, and engine noise all conspire to dull our senses, making food taste less flavorful at high altitudes. It's kind of like trying to enjoy a symphony orchestra while wearing earplugs. You just don't get the full effect. Now, before you swear off airplane food altogether, it's important to know that airlines are well aware of the unique challenges they face when serving meals at 35,000 feet. The process of creating in-flight cuisine is far more complex than most people realize. It's not just about reheating a pre-cooked meal. It's a careful balancing act that requires creativity, science, and a lot of trial and error. Airlines go to great lengths to make their food taste better in the air. Teams of chefs and food scientists spend countless hours developing recipes, taste-testing dishes, and tweaking ingredients to ensure that every bite is as flavorful as possible, even in the dry, pressurized cabin environment. To combat the way our senses are dulled at altitude, they often use extra seasoning and stronger flavors. Salt, spices, and umami-rich ingredients are added in higher quantities than you'd find in a typical restaurant meal, all in an effort to make sure the food doesn't taste bland once you're in the sky. But it doesn't stop there. Chefs also experiment with different cooking methods and ingredients that can withstand the rigors of reheating and serving at high altitudes. Some foods simply don't hold up well in the air, so the menu is carefully curated to include dishes that retain their texture and flavor, even after hours in a galley cart. So next time you're on a plane and find yourself underwhelmed by your meal, remember that it's not necessarily the chef's fault. There's a whole team working behind the scenes, doing their best to overcome the limitations of altitude, humidity, and limited kitchen space. In fact, you can blame it on the science. The way our bodies perceive taste and smell changes dramatically in flight, making it nearly impossible to replicate the flavors you'd enjoy on the ground. It's a combination of factors beyond the control of even the most talented chefs and dedicated airline staff. From the pressurized cabin to the dry air and limited cooking equipment, every meal served in the sky is a small miracle of culinary engineering. So sit back, relax, and try to enjoy the ride. Appreciate the effort that goes into every tray, and maybe even savor the experience of eating at altitude. It's truly unlike any other meal you'll have. And if all else fails, there's always the simple joy of those tiny pretzels. A crunchy reminder that sometimes the little things can make your journey just a bit more enjoyable.